Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney.
No, this is good news.
This is good news, but it's going to show you just how dismal Disney actually was.
Right. Let's see the media spin this one. So the Reedy Creek Firefighters are getting a new contract.
Yes, and how many years did they have to chase Disney?
They said it was years. They've worked under an expired contract for years.
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't been following the situation, of course, we know there's an issue between Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, and the Walt Disney Company, and basically Florida took Reedy Creek back, which was Disney's special district, and that means that the state basically takes over,
like the maintenance
services,
roads, the firefighters, and that they take care of that.
And we've talked about this before. There are a lot of people that are blindly defending Disney, saying, "Hey, it's the government overstepping and taking their private property and da 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 da." But the thing is that Reedy Creek emergency services have been understaffed and underfunded for quite some time.
Right. Remember when there was like record profits and Disney was just passing out the dividends and shares to each other and giving themselves raises to the executives and stuff? Yeah. Well, that was going on. Reedy Creek fire people, they weren't getting paid very much. Their contracts have been, up in the air. They have not had vehicles. They've had to respond to emergencies in SUVs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is one of the good things. Again, regardless of where your personal opinion falls in the situation in Florida, at least this is getting taken care of. Disney did not take care of their EMS people very well. And again, years, I think they punted the ball because they didn't want to deal with it. It was an expense. They could put in, new hotels, but they couldn't pay the firefighters.
Right. Oh, speaking of Disney, a side note. So the new Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, while we're talking about Disney, I want to mention this one too before we go back to the Reedy Creek thing. Disney is now suing Glenn Gilzine. Okay, so he is the new appointed district administrator for the new board, right? They just brought him in. Huge, big deal in Central Florida. I guess part of the Urban League has done all kinds of stuff for underprivileged people, doing what he can to make the city a better place. Has been recognized widely for it. Was on the Reopen Florida board, group with Disney and all that. They're suing him now, as of like Tuesday or yesterday, I forget what day it was, because he has been appointed to the board after their lawsuit. So they're going back, even though he had nothing to do with any of the stuff, because he got appointed to they're going back and suing him too.
That's a hell of a thing.
Well, all the board members were disappointed and weren't there either, and they sued them.
Yeah.
Now they're suing him. He just literally showed up, had nothing to do with it, and he's known for helping all of Orlando and the urban area and all that. Huge deal, and they're suing him now too.
Oh my God.
At least they're diverse and inclusive.
They are diverse and inclusive.
That's the diversity and inclusion they were hoping for. But but back to this. So yeah, here's what happened. The firefighters have voted to accept this contract. Here, I'll go to my article. They haven't had one for years. Okay. Under the new contract, pay for firefighters would increase to $65,000. I'm not sure what it was before. And EMS would increase from $14,000 to $54,000, so it was $40,000. 25 additional firefighters and 12 more EMS paramedics will be hired in the next 6 months, and even more in the next 2 to 3 years. They're also getting 4 new ambulances and a ladder truck out of this deal. And of course, they're all voting for it. And here's what we've mentioned John Shirey before, because he's the union president. I've mentioned many times for years. He has been trying to get Disney to do something. Reedy Creek, which we all know is run by Disney. Bob Iger has effing admitted it repeatedly, which was really stupid on his part. He said that up until January this year, we had gotten zero momentum in moving this thing any closer to being signed. There's a huge level of relief. We have a level of communication and dialogue we've never experienced here before.
And this is a union guy. Okay, and we're talking about. I thought
we hate unions.
Yeah, I thought right. I thought DeSantis hated unions. DeSantis hated all these people. But here's the thing. And look, again, I'm not asking you to like Ron DeSantis, but what I'm telling you is that Disney willfully ignored the pleas and requests of their firefighters and their EMS people for years, which could have put and probably did put lives in jeopardy because they were massively understaffed.
According to them, that one person had the heart attack and died because they couldn't get to them because they didn't have the vehicles and the manpower to do it.
Remember when when people got stuck on the Skyliner, how long it took to get people off the Skyliner because they would have called Reedy Creek.
They would have called Central, the people in Orlando too.
Yeah, but it took hours
yes.
to deal with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also high up because it was a brain fart from Disney. I still think it looks like crap.
It does.
But, like, here's some of the examples that we've talked about over the years. Reedy Creek Fire Department says they're understaffed. And this was from 2021, and this has been going on for years at that point. They told the Orlando Sentinel that they were stretched to the max. Yeah. And then I said, we don't have enough firefighters to make them safe. That was from 2019. So this has been going on for years. Like I said, 2019, when they were having their banger year, they were begging for help then, and they wouldn't give it to them. They're bracing to be stretched further. We're putting people who are visiting Disney in danger.
Yes.
And of course, Disney spokesperson said the claims are simply not true. No, the claims were true.
They're true.
The spokesperson would be a Reedy Creek person, most likely.
Yeah, and the monorails are garbage. The monorails are probably 10 years past their expiration. They needed to be replaced. I think they were only good for about, I've heard like 20, 25 years. Max on the monorails.
Well, Reedy Creeks who came and got us out that time.
Yeah, we got stuck on the monorail. Monorail blew, what was it, about 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. Broke down. And we got stuck on that, and that made the news.
Yeah, and then we got towed back.
Yeah.
But they were ready. The Reedy Creek people were there with their fire trucks and emergency personnel ready to help anyone with water and everything else to get us out of there. Because we were stuck. It was hot, and there was no air. They turned all the power off. It wasn't like the power could still be on. You got air conditioning. No, because a piece fell off, and Disney said it didn't. It did.
It did.
And
it hit some guy's car.
Sparking and smoking, and they didn't even know it until Neon picked up the phone.
I called
the emergency phone and said, "Hey, it's like sparking and smoking back here." And then now it wasn't the monorail operators' fault at all. They were very, very nice and very professional.
They were very cool.
I want to make sure that credit where credit's due. But they shut all the power off because they had to, and it got really hot. And we were high up, and there was also a thunderstorm, so that was extra fun.
So you're in a metal tin can stuck on a monorail track with no air conditioning.
It was in June or July.
There's a thunderstorm coming. Fantastic.
It's like 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
We got Gatorade.
Powerade.
It's a Coke product.
And
right?
We got fast passes for everything but Frozen.
Everything but Frozen.
And basically, you have fast passes where you wanted to go, except for the good rides.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've been there, and it was Reedy Creek who came for that. So this one was another talk about. They were talking about using their SUVs. This is when was this from? Let me look. This was from 2022.
Yeah.
Okay. John Shirey, president of Reedy Creek Professional Firefighters, told WESH, they're also one of the ones who, if you'll see them all the time, I'm mentioning it because they're the ones who've been on top of this the whole time, making sure those firefighters got treated well. On a normal day, we would have 4 fire engines and 8 ambulances running all of the calls that service the entire Disney property. Right now, we have only 2 of our fire engines actually in service, 1 tower truck, and then we have another crew that's running out of our heavy rescue, which does not have firefighting equipment on there. We've had multiple situations because of how poorly maintained our fleet of vehicles is, where an ambulance will break down en route to critical calls. We had a cardiac arrest call, this is what I was talking about earlier, where the respondent rescue broke down, and then we had to set a separate rescue to go down and fill in for them. We had an accident where one of our own firefighters got injured on the job and had to be transported, and the vehicle broke down en route to the hospital with him in it. It's a major safety concern for us. So not only we have guests in danger, we had the actual EMT fire people in danger themselves. All right? They were responding to things in SUVs because they had to get the people, so you took what you had.
Well, maybe if they got out and pushed.
Yeah. Well, but good news, Disney made record profits, and Disney, didn't, that's what makes me so mad, is that after COVID, you could say, well, they didn't have the money. But this was happening before COVID.
Yeah. There's a definite difference between, again, people say we hate Disney. We don't hate Disney. Look at what Disney was even 10 or 20 years ago. This would have been unthinkable. They wouldn't have let things slide this far.
Well, apparently they've been letting this slide. I don't know how long this went on for.
But, I mean, look at how the parks are not maintained like they used to be. And it's all about chasing dividends for shareholders. That's, everybody's like, oh, Bob Iger's fantastic. But yeah, Bob Iger goes out, overspends, buys a bunch of shit, the company poorly manages other people's IP, and then they let basic stuff go to hell.
Right. Who are in danger? Who was in danger for these decisions? Potentially in danger. The people that work there, the firefighters, EMS, people that were, Disney cast members, and guests. Guests were in danger. And the thing is, they brought this up. They said, guests are in danger. We can't get to them fast enough. Our cars are breaking down en route to picking up our guests. We have to go get more trucks to go get us. And one guest allegedly died over it. I mean, that's what they said, not me. I'm just saying.
That's what they said. So we got to call like a Lyft or an Uber to come get Nana and take her to the hospital because our own trucks break down.
Right, like SUVs. There was one story about a widow who was trying to get her death benefits about her husband, and they weren't giving her those either. And even though she was entitled to them, they weren't giving them to her. There has been an ongoing record of problems in regards to treatment of Reedy Creek the fire department and the emergency services,
because they're not held to the same standards that the rest of the state.
Right. Well, they weren't. Now that the Reedy Creek improvement district has been dissolved, and now I have another board in there that is beholden to the state standards. They're getting what they need. Now, you don't have to agree with everything DeSantis does or Disney does. Personally, I think I'm getting kind of tired of the whole. I think it's crap that this person came. They paid him $400,000 a year because he knew he was going to get drug into it. I'm sure. Yeah. But how much they paid Disney attorneys and that fighting this. The one guy that's fighting their case is getting like $1,600 an hour plus.
Did he get a night letter from Mickey? Like, well, pal, if you take this job.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Disney's suing because they said they're being bullied, and they turned bully somebody else.
Be a real shame if you took that job there, right, Mr. Gilzine.
So I'm like, I don't care where you fall on this. The fact of the matter is, we've been telling you for years. I've been covering this. If you got the Pirates and Princesses, even then, before that, I was covering it on. I'm going to say it, the Kingdom Insider, where we were before our names were taken off.
5 years ago. This has been an ongoing
issue. I've been reporting on it for years. Wesh has been reporting on it for years.
So, again, we have a lot of people that have only jumped into the Disney parks drama because of the DeSantis thing, because they hate DeSantis. We have been keeping an eye on the stuff that has been going down in the parks for years.
It's our job.
WDW News Today has been on them too about it.
Oh yeah. Always. They're always on them about it too.
This was willful negligence on the part of Disney, and this is again one of the good things that could happen, because of this new arrangement.
I can't wait to see how the media spins this one.
It's like, oh my God, can you believe it? DeSantis helped those firefighters so people don't die.
I know, how dare they? I know. It's because now they're beholden. They can be held up to state standards, and they have to come up to that. Where Disney, that's the one downside. They love it because they can just decide tomorrow they're building a new attraction and not have any red tape. Just give themselves permission to do so. Yeah. And that is really great from a theme park fan perspective. The other side of it is that then when something happens, they weren't paying their emergency people what they want, not beyond them getting paid. They weren't maintaining the bare minimum of vehicles and things like that. They weren't, they weren't paying them fairly. They were understaffed. They weren't hiring. They were not hiring enough people. They said they had a heck of time recruiting people because everybody knew about how bad it was. They had a heck of time getting people to even join their coming. Now they're going to get a bunch of people, I'm sure. Yeah. And then their vehicles were terrible.
Yeah. I mean, this has been going on for.
So one upside, there's,
And I'm sure those vehicles will be used to help gay people too. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be used to help everyone. So anyway, I just wanted to report on this update because I'm very excited for them. Now, I guess the contract, since it was overwhelmingly agreed upon with the union, obviously, it's going to go back to the Central Tourism Oversight District, blah, blah, blah's board, and then they're going to approve it, which I'm sure they will.
I'd laugh if it was actually called that. Like, now for the meeting of the Central Tourism blah, blah, blah board.
Yeah, because it gets old.
Mr. What's-His-Face, your first stop.
It was easy saying Reedy Creek. Now it's like Central Florida Tourism Oversight District Board. It'll go back to them, and they'll, I'm sure they'll approve it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is for political points too.
Remember when DeSantis though made the announcement that they were going to get rid of Reedy Creek? Who was there? John Shirey and the fire department.
Like, please, for the love of God, would somebody help us do our jobs correctly, Governor? Please.
Because can you imagine? Yes. You're like, well, you can be all entitled all you want, but here's the thing, and call them entitled all you want. Would you want to be somebody who it's your job to save people? right? And one, you're underappreciated and not paid, where people aren't getting their death benefits and things like that. So you have that going on. But you know you cannot save people, and you have to watch as people, could potentially get hurt worse or die or whatever, because you don't have the fucking vehicle to get to them to save them. Because your truck breaks down on the way to an emergency and you have to call for backup who might not be available.
Sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry that Nana died, but the wheels fell off the truck as we were trying to get her. And then we tried to get out and push, and that didn't work. And then we're like, well, we can go to Animal Kingdom and get one of the donkeys from the petting zoo, and we can ride that.
Mickey just says we're being greedy.
Mickey says we're being greedy.
And we have to know our place. I mean, I can't imagine,
Shut up,
the stuff that these people have to deal with anyway.
Oh, my God.
And then having to be like in a position where you're going to know for your whole life that somebody, you could have saved, you didn't save because your truck literally broke down on the way there, and you had tried and tried and tried to get things fixed, or tried and no one would listen to you, from one of the most important companies in Florida, according to Bob Iger, the richest of the rich, pay more taxes than anyone in Central Florida and everything else, and they wouldn't give you the trucks you needed or fix the trucks you needed or pay for the extra staff or whatever.
Florida fixed your shit, Mickey.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with everything. I think that both Ron DeSantis and Disney are like, I mean, I'm sorry, suing this guy when like the new guy when he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
are getting out of hand a little bit. Disney, I think, a little more so. And then you have the one. This is a good thing that came out of it.
So I gotta wonder. This is just me, and I have no inside knowledge of this because nobody talks to us anymore. But I have to wonder if Disney were pressed on the monorail issue. If they would just be like, you know what? We have the Skyliner, we have buses. We don't need monorails anymore. They're too expensive because they're incredibly
and they have boats
expensive.
Too.
We have boats. We don't need, because when they built the monorails, they did not have all that stuff. So, and that was basically just to get you from Epcot to Magic Kingdom. And now they might just be like, yeah, they're really expensive and we don't need them.
I know, and that made me sad though. I mean,
because that's like an icon. Like
I like the monorail, but then I think about being in the monorail recently, and I'm just like, not even getting stuck. We've rode the monorail many times since that. They smell like pee. I'm sorry, they smell like dirty diapers, and like someone literally got in the car and just whipped it out and just peed all over the place. It's like daddy daycare. It's like I missed, it's like that, but it's like the whole car
for 40.
I'd hate to take a black light into that car.
Oh my God.
The whole thing lights up blue,
Yeah, so I'm trying to think, when did they replace, because these aren't the original monorails these were the second generation.
Second one, I think.
But they're still like 10 years past
expiration. At least. They were 10 years past expiration. We talked about it like back a few years ago.
Yeah, 2017. They were supposedly going to replace them in 2017. And usually what Disney does, they actually sell their monorails to Vegas, and then they recondition them in Vegas because they have a monorail system out there, but I don't even think Vegas would want them.
I don't know. They're bad.
They're bad.
Beyond that, we have some of the support structures are cracking in places. There are photos of it out there.
Yeah, it's bad.
The doors have gone, they wouldn't shut, and it was wide enough for a child to slip right out and fall out. And
monorail red,
yeah.
The door
I mean, there's been all kinds of issues with these monorails. And I'm sorry, you can refurbish them to the cows come home, but eventually they're just not it's not gonna work anymore. They're beat to snot, and that's just the way it is. But yeah, anyway, are we gonna wrap this up?
I think we're gonna wrap this up. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Check out piratesandprincesses.net for more objective Disney news, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye. Sorry, I yelled loudly.
That's okay. I got the limiter on.
Okay. So
you can tell like
setting.
Yeah, you can tell.
Really, it automatically limits it when I yell.
It does. When the pitch gets too high, it does. Sometimes if you sound like all robotic, it's because it's bringing the decibels down.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.